is what I think I will drown in pink. After you, I'm afraid of feeling some too soon. Cling to what you're giving. Nothing is what I say. I feel far away. Nothing is what I think. I will drown in pink. Paint away day and night, 6 hearts, hope I'm okay. You're alright, goodbye then if you dare. Someone new is pulling everywhere. I'm afraid to let them. Nothing is what I say. I feel far away. Nothing is what I think. I will drown in pink. Nothing is what I say. I feel far away. Nothing is what I think. I will drown in pink. Nothing is what I say. I feel far away. Nothing is what I think. Nothing is what I think. 'Cause I will drown in pink. Oh, 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 oh. Do you need anything like I need you? It's over. Do you need anything like I need you? wanna change the world. I just want the perfect girl. I don't wanna hang around, I'd rather be found. It gets better, I wonder, my pleasure together. Everyone's waiting, anticipating. Change the world, but I'm not gonna wait my turn. I don't ever want to come down, I'd rather be found. It gets better, I wonder, my pleasure together. Everyone's waiting, anticipating.
Yo, is this thing on? I will never be alone again. I'm immune to the things they said. My heart's unbreaking. Your radiant truth, I know that you will understand, because I finally found myself. My heart's unbreaking. You're radiant. You're radiant. Let's go. Radiate. I hope this never ends.
It's about you. I will never be alone again. I'm immune to the things they said. My heart's unbreaking. Your radiant truth, I know that you will understand, because I finally found myself. My heart's unbreaking. You're radiant. You're radiant.
Yo. What's up? What's up? Welcome everybody. Welcome to the people on the mobile app. Unfortunately, all you see is like a chip on my shoulder, right? Right there. There we go. That's for the mobile app people. What's up? Dude, hey man, YouTube doesn't give me cropping tools. You're going to have to complain to YouTube about it. You're welcome to come watch us in the regular YouTube app. But I do like the extra reach, or you can just listen. You can just treat it as a podcast. Let's go. Yeah, so we are going to start looking at that story about Sascha Riley later. I did see some people inquiring, wondering, well, why isn't the mainstream media covered that story yet? And there's a really good explanation for this, guys, because really what it's going to come down to is it comes down to corroboration, okay? once something hits the mainstream media, it becomes a very, like, at that point, it disseminates through all of the mainstream newspapers. At that point, if the story does not have corroboration, everybody is can be victimized by a defamation suit. Okay. Now, this is part of the reason why Katie Johnson's story never really went fully mainstream. Okay. Because there was a lack of corroboration. Okay. That is one of the things that hampers some of these guys. Now, I have not looked at this thing. I'm going to be discovering it with you. But like the very first detail I noticed was some story about like Trump being airlifted. Okay. Now, that's one of those details where if Trump was airlifted or if Trump rented a helicopter in the 80s, I don't know, 1985, and like suffered some major medical issue, right? Obviously being stabbed with something in the ass. There should be some corroboration out there for that, right? There are some things that are like some screaming details that, you know, there should be some paper trail somewhere about that. And these are the types of things that mainstream media reporters have to look into. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, and that's what's hard about this stuff. Okay. Now I myself, I was sexually abused. And so I do know about the process of like being sexually abused, discovering it and coming out with it. You know, it was like a 10-year process. Now I went through that before Me Too. Okay. I went through that process from like, I don't know, probably like 1995 to 2010. Okay. It was like a 15-year process for me of discovery. And with most of the truth coming out around 2010, yeah, maybe it went to like 2012. It was a long process of like unpacking that. Now, you know, so naturally, I don't want to be automatically doubtful of people. It's just, it's hard. Here's what's hard about it, guys. What's hard about it is like everybody wants these stories to be true. Okay. You know what I mean? Like we want there to be this smoking gun like story that implicates Trump. We want him to suffer for the things that he's done. Okay. We all want that. So it's hard because, you know, the minute we get a whiff of any story in there, like we want to believe it. We want to attach to it. We want to know that it's true. We want there to be a reckoning. And it's also hard though, that like now in today's climate, any big story like that is money, is internet clout, is potential fame, is a career like setter. So we simultaneously have an entire population that is seeking like fame and money and internet clout. And there's like, we want the truth to come out as well. And so a part of me is just, it really, like, I really want to see some corroboration, but we're going to go into it. We're going to look at it. And I want to see more of it. You know, I don't want to prejudge this thing. It's just, I heard some pretty outrageous details and it's hard because, you know, some of it also lines up, you know, some of it mentioning Andy Biggs and mentioning, you know, Lindsey Graham. Obviously, Lindsey Graham has just become a Trump defender to the end, right? You know, fucking Andy Biggs was the guy advocating for Trump to be on Mount Rushmore and all this crazy shit. Like Andy Biggs has been a pretty crazy, like Trump to the moon kind of guy. So some of that seems like, all right, well, it could make sense if Andy Biggs was involved in this shit. You know what I mean? So like, but guys, it is hard because we like trying to find corroboration, like for example, let me just take my own story, guys. My own story with the half brothers who abused me. It was certainly what I discovered was enough for me to confront them and enough for me to like, like make peace with my own sort of like addiction patterns and a lot of my personal life story. Like I was able to sort of heal and have shit come together through my discoveries. Now, there is not enough corroboration, however, in my own personal story that if one of my assailants was a large, well-known public figure, I don't know that my story would get picked up by the mainstream press, okay? Because there simply isn't the corroboration, right? My story would be a tabloid story, and many people would probably not believe it because I don't really have anything to corroborate it. I mean, there might be a few anecdotes that maybe some of my half brothers and sisters remember, and so maybe there would be some minor familial corroboration, right? But you just don't know. And when you say, why did your stepbrothers do that? Like, why, how would I know that? I mean, probably because they were abused by their real father or somebody. But I mean, how would I know? You don't know. You don't know why people abuse? Dude, if somebody knew, people would be able to solve that. I have no idea why they did it. I mean, they were abused, right? And they acted out. But you know what I'm saying? It's like it's that complicated corroboration. Like part of the reason why the Epstein story received so much fuel is because so many women came out and their stories all like corroborated each other. They had a bunch of details corroborating details. Now, the question is if there were other men involved, will other men come forward? Will there be more corroboration about this? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I just, it's like, it's hard. It's hard, guys, because we've been talking about this for, 10 years now. And so, we've had these sort of salacious stories come and go. And like, I don't know. It's hard. I know a lot of people have said, like, why don't I give Katie Johnson's story more weight? I did one video about Katie Johnson, and then I stopped covering Katie Johnson, right? But part of the reason is at some point, like, Katie Johnson has to come forward, man. She like filed 2 lawsuits, okay? One of them was a train wreck. And then she filed one with a legitimate attorney, scheduled a press conference, and then she pulled a no-show. And there's this like interview out there with like a blurred face. But like, dude, it's like women have come forward. Women are committing suicide. It's like at some point you have to come forward. So many women have come forward and faced like the death threats and all that shit. So it's hard. I'm not going to cover a story for 10 years if the woman it won't come forward at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is tough. Like, at some point, we have to, like, why are all these other women coming forward and facing the death threats, but not that one, And Katie had that video, but like, nobody's been able to verify like the claims behind that video. Like, anybody can make a video and blur their face and tell a crazy story. Now, that doesn't mean that these people aren't real, but like, you know what I'm saying? Again, it's we live in a complicated, like, fame-seeking world now. You know what I'm saying? And this has always been the issue with some of these more outrageous claims, right? Like, like, for example, okay, one of the things we looked at, one of the big bombshells in that first, round of Epstein files was about the baby getting thrown overboard on the yacht. Okay, now that was a tip left on the FBI tip line. It was a very salacious tip out there. Well, like, we haven't even seen what the FBI's follow-up was on that. Did they investigate that? Who did they talk to? Did they talk to those women, the woman, anyone else that may have been on that yacht? Did they look up the yacht's records to see where it was, et cetera, et cetera? I mean, there could very well be a huge follow-up on that we don't know. You know what I mean? And I mean, this is the one, there are some really bold claims here, you know what I mean? That, like, I think, are going to need some corroboration in order for this to hit the mainstream media, and the thing about this, though, Jenny, is like, I'm not blaming Katie Johnson for not coming forward, but guys, I will say this. As somebody who is sexually abused, your story's not going to really truly get out there without you coming forward. That is an essential part. You can't, like, come forward, drop a story, and then disappear, and then expect that your story's going to be, like, fully carried. That's just not realistic. You know what I mean? Like, I had to confront my family. I had to come forward. I had to call my half-brother who was in prison and fucking confront him over that prison hotline where the prison officials could hear it. It's like, at some point, your story, you do have to come forward and take ownership of it. It is a part of the deal. You know what I mean? It is a part of the deal. Now, I think we should look into this and like, again, though, of course, I have a healthy sense of believability and skepticism. You know what I'm saying? So how did I find out? Mine was like a 10-year process, 15-year process. Like, the first indication I had was when my half-brother was schizophrenic and he went off his medication, and my mother found knives under his pillow, and she asked him why he had knives under the pillow, and he told her, he said that they're writing that he said that people were writing he was a child molester on his car. And my mom called me up and relayed that story. And when she told me the story that he said that they had said he was a child molester and were writing it on his car, I had what could only be described as a visceral chills reaction, where my whole body reacted, and like something like a chill went down my spine that resonated in my body. And I didn't even know what it was. I was in my early 20s at this point. I had never thought about being sexually abused. I had never, like, gone to any therapy or anything like that. And there was like a vast, like, physical reaction that I had. And I didn't put too much stock into it, but that was like the first sort of like the first brick that got pulled out of the wall. And then, many years later, I was grappling with getting sober, and I was referred to meditation, and I started meditating and doing meditation. Eventually, I got into therapy, and then I got sober, and then I took an acting class. And then what ended up happening was my acting instructor pulled me aside. This was 10, 12 years later, 15 years later. And she said, I'm kind of watching your behavior in class, and I'm kind of, I don't know, I had a lot of childhood trauma, and there's something about the way you interact with other students, the way that like you're able to pick apart their emotions, but nobody can unlock you emotionally. I think you might have some repressed trauma. I'd highly recommend EMDR. It was really transformative for me. And so then I went and I did EMDR, and it was during a couple of years of EMDR and visualization therapy where I was able to piece together a whole bunch of really like tiny memories that I had withheld, and I was able to piece together a story. But even then, there's not a lot of evidence. You know, a lot of the evidence was about me unpacking my shit, and you know, obviously being able to clear up some addiction behaviors and some sexual shame behaviors and all this other stuff. So it was, you know, it was a 15-year, very mystical process that started with an unexplained physical, visceral reaction. And I mean, there were other things though, of like these brothers took care of me in a way. There, you know, there was like one of the half brothers when I was, you know, a first grader, my dad was beating him and I jumped on my dad's back and tried to choke him out, which was very out of character to me. And when I later remembered some of the abuse, that physical attack of me on my father to protect him then made sense. So what happened is there were a lot of weird memories that never made sense in the context of my character, that when I put together the abuse, all of those things made sense. Another one was with the other half brother. Once I got in trouble he had a job, I went into his wallet once and I ripped a $20 bill into tiny pieces and put it back in his wallet. And then when he was trying to figure out who did it, I was in second grade. I claimed it. I said to my parents, I did that. And I had a good reason to do that. And I never told them why I did it, but later on, I was like, oh, now that makes sense that I did that to that guy, because I was like trying to let them know he was abusing me. And so I did this outrageous thing, like ripping a $20 bill into microscopic pieces, putting it back in his wallet, and then going to my parents and saying, yes, I was the one who fucking ripped up that bill and he deserved it. Right? You know what I mean? Like, so it was like that. But again, guys, there's not enough corroboration, even with all of that, where I don't think there's enough corroboration for me to have like gotten them publicly convicted, you know? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, so it's complicated, right? Now, you know, these things do happen, right? But like, one of the crazy things is though, is what I don't like. What I don't like is how, here's what I don't like, guys. What I don't like is how the women that are corroborated have stories that like seem to fit the bill of a lot of stories of sexual abuse and rape. And right, and like the women talked about like, you know, toys, and then we go and look at Jeffrey Epstein's New York mansion and there's drawers of toys. There's all this corroboration that we see. And they are stories that sort of like sound a lot like what has happened to those of us, like me, right? I listen to Maria Farmer, Annie Farmer. I read Virginia Giuffre's book, and that shit, like, it resonates with me, having been abused, right? Now, what's crazy when you read a story about like a metal rod being shoved up someone's ass and them being airlifted, that is so like larger than life that like, I wonder why some of these non-corroborated stories always seem to be the ones with those crazy larger than life elements to them. Okay? Like, why is it that the people that don't show up and don't corroborate their stories with evidence have the most outrageous, larger than life stories some of the times with the craziest events happening? That, like, I don't know, it gets me triggered a little bit. And it, you know, and like, so that's why I have a healthy skepticism. But again, I don't want to completely discount it. But at the same time, I have to be honest about my skepticism because it's something I'm contending with, taking in the details. Like, you don't want to turn your back on a story, but like at the same time, I get a little frustrated that some of these stories that I really want to resonate with also seem to include some of these crazy fucking details. Now stop the BS. I know you say like Virginia didn't commit suicide. I know you say that, but like when I've been reading Virginia's book, and it was reading Virginia's book that made me think Virginia might have committed suicide. Okay? Because when you read her book, you realize how like beaten down she was, and how like she continually got stuck in a circle of abuse. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it wasn't until I read her book that I started thinking like, wow, reading her book, I really tapped into like some of the hopelessness that she was consistently like carrying, you know? And it was, and I'm not certain her relationship with her husband was the healthiest thing for her, you know, and she like, I don't know, dude, she was grappling with a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was grappling with a lot, man. But again, we're going to look at this shit, okay? We're going to look at this shit. We are going to tap into it, you know? Yeah, it's weird because her book was like, if you read her book, okay, her book was like she kept sort of grappling with like putting herself in the path of abuse, right? Like she was constantly trying to talk herself into empowerment while simultaneously like staying right next to abusers. And like, you know, she especially did that with her family and shit, where she just kept like trying to, I don't know, man. There was something about her story where there's a step for me that involved cutting out abusive people and cutting out people that even had like the tiniest thread of abuse, that like in her story, she never really did that. Like she was constantly like returning to old patterns while having this public warrior role. And it's really hard. It's really hard to like when you're a public warrior and you're privately still like living in your cycles of trauma. It's really hard. Like I read her book and her book, I can see the sadness and the futility and her like trying to get out of that cycle of, you know, sort of like chasing the abuser. And I'm not fully convinced that she found her way out of that. Like I don't think that her public fight against Epstein necessarily pulled her out of her private struggle with that circular drain of her trauma. You know what I mean? It's, and I mean, it was like, yeah, I don't know, dude. Her book, like when I read her book, it's like, here's what I thought, okay? And I'm not done with the book. I'm only like 70% through, but like, there's no question that she was a warrior and she had more impact on this case than any woman of the bunch, okay? Her brave lawsuit against Ghislaine Maxwell, those depositions, she opened the door. But the problem is, guys, is I don't think all of the activism she did, I think she was waiting for that to heal her personal trauma, and it just didn't, okay? It's like the person who becomes the rock star, you know what I'm saying, to fucking heal their own feelings of low self-esteem, and to escape their bad childhood, but they put a shotgun in their mouth and they blow their brains out like Kurt Cobain did because they just couldn't get beyond it. And I think that it was the fame of her like trying to win this battle, and the winning the battle was tied into her own personal trauma. But I think the fame exacerbated it, her trauma and her struggles and her isolation. And I think that, like, you know, I don't know. I got a real sense that, like, oh man, she thought this journey was going to take it all away, and it just sort of made it all more intense. And so it was like reading her book that made me think, like, wow, I kind of could see her having taken her own life. Like I could see it. You can see that emptiness and that futility in her writing. It's there. It's there in that, like, you know, there was never a solution. And again, I really think like her relationship with her dad and her relationship with her husband were like part of the problem. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think her relationship with her husband was a healthy one. He was a hair trigger, like very short-tempered personality. And he was like, tried to become her protector. And, you know, we talked yesterday about me and Jenny in that Korn concert and how, like, me not being Jenny's protector and me not controlling her, like, her recovery is part of the reason why she's been able to become such a healer, you know? and man, dude, she got like, yeah, I don't know. It's like, I thought for sure that she was murdered until I read her book. And then after I read her book, I was like, God, I don't know, man. I like, the person in this book is like grappling with an existential sadness that they don't see the doorway out of. And they're grappling with a constant return to the abuser cycle that they just can't seem to shake, you know? And like, you know, it's like she reminded me a little bit of my mom, who replaced one abuser with another abuser. And you know, though people in those types of hopeless situations sometimes take their own life. And guys, she grappled with a lot of drug use, like sleeping pills. And I mean, she had a lot of struggles, guys. Okay. She had a lot of struggles. So after reading her book, I like, I don't know, I definitely felt differently about it. You know, why was she so beat up before she died? I mean, guys, she you know, she like invested her whole life in this case. And, you know, she trusted a lot of people she shouldn't have trusted. And, you know, she, some of it like impugned her character with some of the things. Like, I still, guys, I believe, you know what I believe more than anything? Here's what I believe more than anything is I believe that Prince Andrew set her up. Okay. I think the very original reporter from the Daily Mail or whatever, the Daily Mirror, whichever it was, there was a reporter from the UK that was the first person to unearth her story and to tell her story about Prince Andrew. But that reporter gave her advice that later haunted her about like changing the true details when she wrote a memoir, and like giving her money for the story because everybody does it. So the very first reporter did some things that impugned her character and made it look like she was lying. And so I believe that Prince Andrew outed himself with her, with this specific reporter, and got her to engage in a way of telling her story that would later impugn her character and make it easier for him to deny. Like, I think he fucking, I think he like outed his own story and beat her like like beat her down with it. And then he just paid her off silently in a suit to make it go away. And I that was the impression I got. I was like, oh my God, I think he sent a reporter to leak his own story and to do it in such a way that would later, yes, diabolical. And guys, this is the type of shit that Epstein did. Okay, these guys are not, they're not stupid. Okay, they know how to work the press, guys. And so you know, it is that type of thing is what made me sense a sense of hopelessness in her, because guys, she didn't see it. Okay, she wrote a book about that, and she was able to relay these details that made it so kind of obvious. But she never questioned that, because she was like naive, like to the core, when there were abusers picking at her. Okay, that was one of the things I sensed is abusers. I don't know that she ever got out of the being naive around abusers type thing, like her inner child. Yeah, like I don't think she ever, like, I don't know, man. There, you know, that's the type of shit where you do EMDR, you do certain types of therapy that help you deal with the PTSD. And I don't know if she ever got access to that work, guys. I think she crusaded, you know, and that was a thing that was like heartbreaking for me is I was getting the sense of her never quite getting the same help that I got that helped me extricate myself from some of that problem. Because guys, when you are abused as a child, when you are groomed, when you are sex trafficked, when you are SA'd, when you are molested, the thing that is much worse than the actual molestation itself is the cycle of abuse it sets up in you, where you gravitate to abusers and you second guess all your instincts, and you become a small, directable child at the behest of the abusive person. And you then continue to allow yourself to be abused long after the initial abuse. And you do it with coworkers, with boyfriends, with husbands, with bosses, with anyone in authority. You continue that cycle of, I'm going to naively try to save them and fix this, and then they're going to abuse and manipulate me, and I'm going to be left wondering what I did wrong. And then you live that cycle out 1,000 times. And the thing that was really heartbreaking about Virginia's book is I'm like 100 pages from the end, and I still don't see her getting free from that. Like, I still see her like struggling with that same thing. And she's like many years into this like huge fight out in the public. And so it made me wonder if there was a huge part of her trauma recovery that was just not getting fed, you know what I mean? And her controlling husband wasn't noticing this. And so that's the type of stuff that causes people to take their own life, is that you wake up one day after fighting for 20 years and you feel like you've gone 0 feet forward. And you know, she was in this custody battle and all that shit, and she had been in a car accident, so now she's got physical ailments she's grappling with. And so like, that's when I was like, I started feeling, oh man, maybe she wasn't murdered. Maybe it just finally got the best of her. I don't know. I can't say for sure. I don't have any answers, but I know that like I had sort of a visceral reaction to 𝗙𝗪𝗪, and I had been like thinking like, ooh, she's not supporting Virginia. And so, but after reading the book, I don't know, man. There's a real sense of forlorn, like never going to get out of that cycle of abuse element to Virginia's writing, where it, you know, the reader can see a lot of obvious points that I don't think Virginia was noticing. And that, you know, made me, right? You know, she didn't want to hurt anyone. She was kind. Yeah. You know, what's interesting is what Tony says there too, is like, even with her father, like she was continually, like, even after having some gnarly details about her dad, she kept like trying to placate the man. And that shit will fuck you up, man. That stuff fucks you up, guys. It does. You know what I'm saying? It really does. It really does, man. So I don't know. But we are going to look at the Sascha thing a little later. I'm going to sort of breathe through it. I do want to cover some other minor news pieces first. All right. Make a note to myself about that intro. You haven't braved the Sascha files? Yeah, no, we're going to look at the Sascha files. Again, dude, I'm not gonna dismiss it. I just, you know what I'm saying? It's like really hard, okay? Because there's a couple of things, okay? There's a couple of things, guys, that initially, like, sting me. You know what I'm saying? There's a couple of things that initially sting me. And some of it was around like these really outrageous over-the-top details that seemingly should be able to be corroborated or will be easily refuted. That's number one. And I'm like, why do some of these fringe stories have those over-the-top elements to them? And it seemed, and then the other thing is, you know, the person that Sascha went to, which is a person that it is my understanding is a little bit on the outrageous side as well. Okay. So, right. You know what I mean? Which is why even with the Katie Johnson story, Katie Johnson went to a very reputable attorney. She had the fucking press conference set and then she backed out. And now we're years later and there are women like on the steps of the White House, you know, talking about this shit. It is a national story. Like, where is Katie Johnson? Okay. Katie Johnson is not in any more danger than all of those other women, man. You know what I mean? Like, to me at this point, like, I understand Katie Johnson being mum in 2016, but like, why is Katie Johnson mum in 2026 when there's like 50 women on the steps of the Capitol with the whole government behind them? Like, there's no reason Katie Johnson should not be here right now. You know what I'm saying? With if her story is true, so we can corroborate this shit and like make this shit happen, you know? This abuse is secular in nature. It is not a priest. All right. I don't know what that means, Tony. It's power, but I like it. But you know what I mean? And now again, I don't know what Katie Johnson's story is. Sam, let's go. Right? But you know what I'm saying? I don't know what fucking Katie Johnson's story is, but it is questionable as to why, like, she would have so much support. She could be at the center of this thing. And so where is she? You know? But all these women were threatened by Trump, 𝗙𝗏𝗏𝗏. That is not true. Every single one of those women that is up there on that podium has been threatened. They've had cars drive up and flash their lights in their high beams in their fucking windows at night. They have had strange men approach them in fucking parking lots. You know what I'm saying? Like these threats are I feel like are not uncommon, you know? You know what I mean? Could she still be traumatized? She could, but guys, you know, again, if I didn't come forward with my story and stand for it, no one in my family was going to believe me, okay? And even when I did come forward, a bunch of people didn't believe me. But like, it really did require, you know, it does require you coming forward. You know what I'm saying? Like, it does. Like, somebody can't come forward and then disappear and then expect us to, like, to lead their revolution. You know what I mean? It's like, it's really hard. It's really hard because coming forward doesn't even mean it's going to work, right? You could come forward and it doesn't mean it's going to work, you know? You know what I mean? The threat to Katie Johnson was very credible. She is afraid. Yeah, see, Groove Dragon, the thing about this is my thing is this, is I'm not going to judge Katie Johnson, okay? I'm not judging her. I don't know what's going on with her. But the thing is I'm not going to be the mouthpiece for her story, though, if she doesn't come forward, right? Like, I'm not going to judge her. And I don't know if her story is credible or not. But if she wants me to be a mouthpiece for the story and to spread it worldwide extensively, she does need to come forward. Without her, I can't do that, right? Like, that's me. And I'm not judging her credibility because her story may very well be fucking true, right? I have some suspicions that there's a lot of truth to it. But people are like, why aren't you talking about this more? And it's like, well, I can't because she does need to come forward or I can't talk about it. You know, because that's like me. I'm a survivor and my story didn't really get to be told until I took ownership of it. And you know what I'm saying? And I mean, I just think that, you know, I feel like we could get her protection. There's no reason we can't get her protection. Like, the whole government would arrange for a security detail. I mean, I feel like, you know, if she's really worried about survival, like, I feel like now we could take care of that, you know what I'm saying? And to me, it is, you know, it is like, you know, it is like, I think we have to, you know, it's like, I'm not going to disbelieve her, you know what I'm saying? But I'm also, though, it's like, if you want to hold somebody accountable, right, you have to be a part of the process. You can't hold somebody accountable without participating in the process. You know what I mean? Like, that is what is really hard. And again, it just keeps happening that like, you know, that the most salacious stories are also the ones where people won't take ownership of them. Really, or they're not able to corroborate them. So that's part of the problem that we grapple with, right? So I don't know how that's going to work out, right? But I am a survivor, and so you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It's like, because there are a lot of, you know, still don't have justice. They're covering up the BS. Yeah, no, I know it's hard, DPD. It's really hard, right? It's really hard. And so it is, this is all so complicated, guys. It is. It's so complicated. Like, I wonder about Lisa Bloom, you know, like, even Lisa Bloom, the lawyer, like, we never really heard much from her about Katie Johnson. You know what I'm saying? Even though I'm saying I'm not judging her credibility, it sounds like it. Yeah. Well, I mean, guys, you know, the thing about this, though, is listen to me, though. Like, listen to this. So, Elle, you know, when you say you think I'm judging her credibility, if the thing about this is if Katie Johnson wants Donald Trump to go to jail for what he did to her, it's not going to happen without her coming forward. Okay. Like, that's factual, okay? Now, we're not going to be able to put Donald Trump in jail for what he did to Katie Johnson without Katie Johnson. That is a reality, okay? You know what I'm saying? And so, like, we have that reality that we're confronted with, right? But I feel like a lot of the public want Donald Trump to go to jail for what he did to Katie Johnson without Katie Johnson coming forward. But, like, that's never going to happen. No one's going to believe Katie Johnson. I mean, even if Katie Johnson comes forward a whole bunch of people aren't going to believe her, right? You know what I mean? Like, she'll come forward and 40% of America won't believe her even after she comes forward. But if she doesn't come forward, she's like, nobody's going to believe her. The mainstream media won't even be able to like put it out there. And it sucks. But guys, at the same time, I mean, like, shouldn't it be that way? Like, should somebody be able to say I molested them 30 years ago and I get put in jail without that person ever coming forward just because it gets printed in like the Daily Mail UK? No, I certainly don't want that to be the case. I wouldn't want somebody, some random anonymous person, to come and say that I did something to them in 1975 and the person never takes the stand, never comes forward, and they just put me in fucking prison. I mean, come on, man. Nobody wants that world. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? I mean, I certainly wouldn't want that world. That world seems like, no, I'd rather not have that world. Right? You know? I mean, we have to look at this from a sort of like a wide lens, you know, and not simply the lens of us wanting Donald Trump to be in prison. Okay? That's what's really hard. You know what I'm saying? Is like, you know what I mean? I mean, because even with that video, guys, you know, the video with the blurred face, I've seen Katie Johnson video with a not blurred face. And I wondered, like, is that really Katie Johnson? I mean, I've seen pictures of Katie Johnson that they say is Katie Johnson, but are actually a teen actress that's not Katie Johnson. And so there's a lot of details I've seen on the elements on the internet about Katie Johnson that is not actually true. And so it's all very confusing there, right? There's a picture, right? Like, there's a picture. If you look at Katie Johnson, okay, you look at this picture, there's a picture that is used for her, right? That, like, okay, there is video that shows her face from this video, but there's a picture like this. This is not Katie Johnson, okay? That is not her. That picture is actually an actress, like a teen actress. And this picture gets posted all over the internet as being Katie Johnson, but it's not actually Katie Johnson, okay? That's a little weird, guys. That, like, there's millions of pieces of information that use this photo, but the person in this photo is not the person, okay? That's strange. That's a strange detail. That years later, we still are confronted with, like, why are there millions of pieces of content, like, saying this is this person when it's not, you know? You know what I mean? It's like, it's so strange, guys. It's so strange that this shit is going on. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? But yet I listened to the story from Katie Johnson, and it's a very believable story that appears to corroborate a lot of what these other women have said. You know what I'm saying? And, like, you know, who was the Maria girl? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know, man. It's really fucking challenging, boss. Right? It's really, really challenging, you know? And so, like, man, it's hard because what's hard about it, though, okay, is like, it's like, if we want to hold Trump accountable, we're going to need, like, corroborated accounts and like proof. Now, there may very well be stuff in the Epstein files that lets us know who Katie Johnson is that's not getting released. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, there could be a whole bunch of shit that in there that we don't know. I mean, we know something's in there, okay? And I don't know if it's Sascha Riley. I don't know if it's Katie Johnson. We do know that something is in there. But you know, for me, I guess, a part of this is my conspiracy theory sort of thing. Like, I'm not going to become a person, okay, that is like just promoting every bit of non-corroborated information that allows me to, you know, like live in my own personal desires. You know what I mean? Do we think Trump is ever going to be held accountable? I mean, he could. Harvey Weinstein was. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, if you don't think Trump is ever going to be held accountable, then why are you even fighting this fight? You know? I mean, think about that, guys. If you honestly don't think that Trump will ever be held accountable, then you have no business even taking the fight. The whole point of taking the fight is knowing that he can be held accountable. Like, why can't he? You know, it just requires you know, I mean, it requires us taking back the House so the Democrats can be leading the investigation. I mean, let's start with Bill Clinton, okay? You know what I'm saying? Let's start with Bill Clinton, guys. Because he is the soup du jour, all right? Because look at what's happening without us taking the House, okay? Right? Look at what's happening without us taking the House. What, do we have a troll in here? Is there a troll? Somebody was saying there was a fucking troll. Oh, that person? Yeah, no, I think we can get rid of that person, right? Yeah, they're just fucking being an idiot. Later! Smell ya! Found him. But guys, I think we need a centering here, guys. Okay? We do. I think we need a centering here, guys. Because here's the deal, right? This is like the same shit we talk about with the election. If we don't believe Trump can be held accountable, we shouldn't be taking this fight, okay? Because you're not going to win if you don't think Trump can be held accountable. The same way is if you think the election is over, then there's no point in voting, right? You're not going to win the goddamn House. Like we have to start centering ourselves in not being on an impossible mission, okay? You know what I mean? Because here's the deal, guys. There's a thing that happens, and this is the trauma of like witnessing abuse, okay? Because if we think Trump is not going to ever be held accountable, you know what's going to happen? We as a public will start gravitating towards unproven stories. We'll gravitate towards theories with no corroboration, and we will like pull ourselves towards all of the evidence that will never get him convicted. And we will center ourselves around shit that will like remind us how futile it is to try and take down a man in power. And we will like end up hanging out with all the non-truth tellers, and we will like participate in the cycle of trauma just like trauma victims do. So like what you need to do is you need to center yourself in believing he can be held accountable. And then you need to center yourself around all of the people that are here and present and showing up and fighting the fight, and you rally together as a community and you hold them accountable. But like my thing is like, you know, I can get behind Maria Farmer and Annie Farmer and Sarah Ransom and Virginia Giuffre and Courtney Wild and all of those women that are fighting this fight day in and day out because they are in the fight. Okay. They're putting it all out on the table. And like I want Katie Johnson in that fight too. But like, I'm not going to just put all my shit into Katie Johnson with her not being there and then believing Trump's never going to be held accountable, because that's a trap. Okay. If I believe in the woman that doesn't show up and like, oh, but Trump's never going to be guilty, that is like the cycle of abuse right there. You know, when like, that's what I'm talking about is like, some people want to believe Trump's never going to be held accountable. And then they live in all the stories with the craziest, most outrageous tales, but this belief that he's never going to get punished for them. And we know he's fucking guilty, okay? We know he is. And we know there's some shit in there. You know what I'm saying? We know that there is like a lot of shit in there, guys. And it may be Katie Johnson. It may be fucking Sascha Riley. But we need those people in the coalition, okay? We do. We need to stick with the people like that are here fighting. And you know what I'm saying? I don't know what's up with Katie Johnson. Like, she could not be alive for all we know. You know what I'm saying? And you say Jessica Denson is doing great work. See, I have mixed feelings about Jessica Denson though, right? Too, because like Jessica Denson also feels like she borders a little bit on like really outrageous conspiracy theories as well, dude. And that's really hard, you know? You know what I'm saying? That's hard for me, right? With Jessica Denson, like she is, you know, like, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard. I'll have to look more into her. I don't know, dude. She, you know, it's hard. It's hard. Like, for example, guys, okay, let me just tell you, a woman approached me, okay? A woman approached me and so Groove Dragon, I don't know what you're saying when you say that Katie Johnson sat down with prosecutors and told her story under oath. You're going to have to show me what you mean by that, because Katie Johnson, I don't know, like, you're going to have to tell me what prosecutor she sat down with. I don't know that happened. Katie Johnson filed a couple lawsuits, but I don't think she was ever involved with any prosecutors. And Katie Johnson did not win in court. She did not. She filed 2 lawsuits and withdrew them both. The first lawsuit was in Riverside, California, and it was a disaster. It was a former like reality TV producer like talked her into filing this thing, and it was filed all wrong, and she removed it. And then she fucking went with Lisa Bloom and filed another lawsuit in New York. And she set up a press conference like a week or a couple days before the election. She backed out and then withdrew the suit. So what I'm saying, though, is Groove Dragon, if you have some information about Katie Johnson, please put a link to it, what you read that you're saying exists. Put it in the Discord. Don't just tell me about it. Like, show me the evidence. Show me that indictment that where Katie Johnson is talking to prosecutors, and I will fucking read that and look that. I have not seen that. Okay, so you just share it with us and we'll dig into it. You know what I'm saying? But like, because I'm telling you what I saw of Katie Johnson in Riverside and in New York City and with Lisa Bloom. And so if you have other information, by all means, put it in the Discord and we will fucking unearth that shit. Right? But you need to show what you're reading. You need to show me that indictment that like where she's talking to prosecutors, like show me that information, right? Like that's the thing. We're at the stage where like this stuff needs to be verifiable shit. You know what I mean? Like we have to do this. If we want to hold Trump accountable, we need to do this. You know what I mean? Now, like I sort of like, you know, I feel like we have to, if we're going to hold people accountable, we got to actually like have shit that stands up in court. You know what I mean? I mean, that's the ultimate tell, guys, right? There is like, there's a court of public opinion and then there's a court of law. Now, the thing about Donald Trump is this, guys. You're never going to beat him in the court of public opinion. Okay? Never. Okay? If you don't beat him in the court of law, his followers are a cult. You are never going to convince them that he has done anything wrong. Okay? So you're not going to, he is unimpeachable in the cult of public opinion because he is too powerful and he is too big of a reality TV star. Okay? He has too many allies in the media that he pays off. So the only way you're going to beat Trump is court of law. Okay? And we've seen him get beat in the court of law, right? Because he got fucking, if he hadn't gotten elected again, he'd be in prison right now. Okay? But you know what I'm saying? You believe Epstein is in the Trump files? Absolutely. Right? But you know what I mean? But like, dude, I do though. If she was talking to prosecutors, I want to see that shit. Absolutely. But guys, there's a lot of misinformation. But for example, let's just look at the Bill Clinton situation. Okay? Because look at this shit. Okay, so what we have now is we have Comer and Bill Clinton. Okay, we have Comer and Bill Clinton. All right, right here. All right, here we go.
Yeah, look, Donald Trump has answered thousands of questions from the American public and from the media
about
Epstein. To my knowledge, Bill Clinton hasn't answered any questions. And what he said in that letter, he's provided us his information about his knowledge of Epstein. He didn't provide hardly any information for someone that allowed Epstein to go to the White House 17 times while he was president and then fly on his plane 27 times. So we have questions. If anyone in America is interested in Epstein and getting to the truth about what really happened and who needs to be held accountable and how the government failed the victims, then Bill Clinton is someone that would be a person of interest, whether you're a Republican or Democrat.
Well, okay, so here's the deal, guys. Now, again, you ready for this? This comes down to taking the House, guys. Okay? Right? Why is this so important? Because Donald Trump is illegal right now. Okay? December 19th, they were supposed to release all the files. 2 weeks later, January 3rd, they were supposed to release the redaction information and justify the redactions. They've done neither. They've released less than 1% of the files. So Donald Trump's DOJ and the FBI and his administration are illegal. They're breaking federal law every day. But what are these guys doing? These guys are allowing Trump to break the law, and they're instead saying Bill Clinton needs to testify. Bill Clinton is the reason why, Epstein's not in trouble. Bill Clinton, this is all about Bill Clinton. But like, here's the deal. Bill Clinton better not fucking say anything to anyone until all those files are out. Why should Bill Clinton obey a subpoena when the administration is breaking federal law? Fuck that. Okay, let's see Bill Clinton's response here. All right, because Bill was like, dude, what are we talking about? I said it straight up where I was like, right here, Bill and Hillary should refuse anything. As long as the Trump administration and the DOJ is not complying with that federal law, there's no reason for them to speak to anyone. Okay? There's no reason. At that point, this is bullshit. You can't be breaking the law. Okay? You can't be breaking the law and then expect us to comply. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is fucking bullshit. That is some bullshit, boss. All right, it is. That is absolute bullshit. Dude, all right, hold on. Somebody mentioned a fucking dance party. I'm gonna get this going. Dude, fuck it. All right? And yes, guys, we are gonna look at this Sascha Riley stuff. We are looking at it. I'm not dismissing this stuff, guys, but I think we need to have healthy skepticism until we see some corroboration. Okay? Until we see some corroboration, guys, because we don't want to become MAGA, okay? MAGA, all right, you ready? Let me just say this. Last thing, we're going to talk a little more about Clinton, but MAGA has become the party of Pizzagate. They have become the party of the deep state, okay? They have become the party of believing that Obama should be arrested and Hillary Clinton should be arrested, and the fact that they're not is because of a giant conspiracy related to Pizzagate and pedos in Hollywood and, fucking Bathsheba and whatever, right? Beelzebub and so on and so forth. And so they live their entire life in this conspiracy theory fantasy show where nobody's held accountable because of these demonic people. And then every day they're concocting some crazy, outrageous new story that is the reason why these people aren't being held accountable. And I'm not doing that, okay? I am not going to believe that Donald Trump will never be held accountable so I can start unearthing, like, that Elon was changing votes with an iPad and there's tunnels underneath the White House where they're still kidnapping young boys and this, that, and the other. And you know what I mean? I mean, I'm going to stick with shit that we can corroborate and shit that will hold up in a court of law because we are actually trying to prosecute this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And trying to remain centered and not just believing in a whole bunch of shit I can never prove, so Trump can never be held accountable. Okay, James, let's go. Because we are like guys, we are like the conspiracy theory thing is like how algorithms sell shit now. LFG, glad to be here with everyone. Let's go, Ella. You know what I mean? Like I feel like the conspiracy theory, like conspiracy theories are like the new, like they're like AI guys, where they're, like we want to believe them because they look so realistic and they're totally supporting the inner way we want things to be. And they also take away that feeling of like we feel powerless, like we can't do anything to anybody. But then if we believe it's this crazy like conspiracy, it like makes it okay because now it justifies why we're powerless. And so I think we've got to be like real careful on those lines, you know what I mean? Like that, it's part of the reason like why for me, I always relate to things like a court of law. Okay. And I don't know if that's helpful to you, but like, if I had not become a musician or an artist, I would have been a lawyer, okay? And the thing about the lawyering is it's not just some crazy story that you tell. If you're a lawyer, you have to develop enough circumstantial and or direct evidence, and you have to impeach people's testimony and shit in order to get a jury to believe you've shown them enough evidence to convict. And I think that those types of standards are the things that keep me tethered in reality, right? Making sure that like we have corroboratable evidence, and because I really think we can hold these guys accountable, okay? I think Trump can be held accountable. Nobody thought Richard Nixon was going to be held accountable. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Dude, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, but we are going to look into it, all right? Because guys, let me just tell you, okay? Brief respite. When I look at this picture, dude, this picture reminds me a lot of me, guys. All right, let me just show you. Let me see if I have a photo here. Hold on. Give me one sec. This is Sascha Riley. All right, and let me show you mine. Let me see here. I think it's in this one. Ready? Like, tell me me and this kid weren't similar, boss. You know what I'm saying? There's Sascha Riley. There's me. Okay? Isn't that crazy? Like, when I look at the Sascha Riley pictures, I'm like, dude, that shit is me, boss. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was my fucking era. I heavily relate to the imagery around this, you know? You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, it is like the same room. All of that 70s, exactly. That 70s stuff. Like, you know, so believe me, when I talk about like my skepticism towards Sascha Riley, it is not based in me trying to impugn his story. It is me, you know, being very sort of touched and connected by that story, right? Like, here's me and one of my sisters, one of my half sisters, right? Same era, okay? Same era, guys. You know what I mean? I was being sexually abused by two half brothers in this photo, okay? When I was being sexually abused, this kid was being sexually abused by two half brothers at the time this photo was taken. It was a regular part of my existence, and no one knew. You know what I'm saying? So I relate, man. You know what I mean? I relate. But again, like, you know, it's like, if that's the truth and shit, we got to find a way for this to fucking come out and we can do something with it. Not have it be just a, you know, a crazy impugned story. Like, you know what I mean? It is very common. It's very, very common, guys. But believe me, when I looked at this picture, I was like, dude, I know this look. I know this look. I know what it's like being that kid. You know, my abuse happened in kindergarten, first and second grade. And then in second grade, we moved to California, and without the perpetrators. By then, the perpetrators, one of them had been taken away by the state and was in a juvenile facility for law breaking, for like stealing a police motorcycle and breaking into a Shopko and a bunch of other crimes. So he was taken away and put into a juvenile facility at Ethan Allen Boys Home in Milwaukee. And then the other one joined the Navy and left home. And then so me and my sister, half sister, moved to California. So one of them was 6 years older than me. So one of them, when I was a second grader, he was in 8th grade. And the other one was, I believe, 10 years older than me. When I was a second grader, he was I think he was a senior in high school. Okay. And so it was around those ages. And the three of us all shared a room, guys. Okay. I shared a room with both of those guys. We had 4 bedrooms in our house. One bedroom in the front was my two half sisters. The other bedroom in the front was the 2 oldest boys who were twins. And then me and those 2 brothers, the 8th grader and the other senior in high school, all shared one room next to my parents' bedroom. So I was in the room shared with those guys. So like, you know, and I don't know what they knew. I don't know what anybody knew, but yeah, it was, I didn't find out about it. Like, I didn't really remember it until I was in my 30s. Okay. I was in my 30s before it came out. Right. But yeah. So yeah, man. I mean, I relate. But were they ever punished? No, they're never going to be punished. But it wasn't really, I mean, for me though, DPD, it wasn't really about punishing them. For me, I just wanted like to take my life back. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was my thing. I just wanted to take my life back. I wasn't so much worried about punishing them, you know, because I didn't have enough evidence to ever punish them. But I did want my life back. And I did get my life back too, you know, which is, you know, I mean, for me, I'm fine with that. You know, one of them though is in prison. You know, one of them, like the one who is in 8th grade, when I was in 2nd grade, he's in prison. And he, you know, went on to essay a woman at knife point when he was in his 20s. and he got arrested. He went to prison. He got out of prison after like 10 years, and he like violated his parole. And so he's in prison now in Wisconsin on a thing called a 980 law. They have a law that if you're a sex offender and you violate your parole, they can just keep you in jail until you are considered rehabilitated. So he's going to be in prison for the rest of his life, which is good. He should be there, right? That's perfectly good for him. That's where he belongs. But I confronted them both, right? I called them both and I had conversations with them and confronted them both and then cut them out of my life. And it was, I mean, it did the trick. It was a long process, right, of recovery, of being but see, guys, again, I've told this story a million times. It's convoluted, guys, okay? Because, you ready? This is the problem with this abuse, guys, is both of those half brothers also loved me, okay? They weren't trying to hurt me. They were literally just abused people, and their love for me got confused with this traumatic fucking issue they had, okay? Because, you ready for this? I actually came out of the family with a type of self-esteem and a type of like centering and being able to feel love that none of my half brothers and sisters got. Like, I literally survived my narcissistic parents better because of the love of those two half brothers that was very real, even though it came with this legacy of really harmful abuse. So ironically, even though I was traumatically abused, it was their love for me that helped me survive my family better than all my half brothers and sisters. I know it sounds crazy, but they gave me something good that sort of saved me, even though they gave me something very, very bad that I spent my life getting over. And that's what's so fucked up about this shit is like a lot of these abusers are not actually trying to harm kids. They love them. They're just really fucked up and they've been abused themselves. And so you have to unravel this crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, because part of how I was able to heal was because I had a certain type of confidence and self-love that came from being truly loved by these really abusive motherfuckers, right? Isn't that weird? And so in the end, once I got the abuse solved, I'm actually was really thankful for their love, even though like I also like didn't need that abusive part, but like their love kind of saved me in a way, right? And it's really, I know people don't, it's hard to process. It is hard to process, right? It is now in a case of like Epstein and those guys, there's elements of that too, okay, where those girls were from broken homes, those girls were abused, they were abused by their parents, and Epstein like made them feel loved in a way. He like told them, wow, you're such a great artist, you are so talented, you can do this, you can do that. He like took them on jets and to like gave them money, but then he would break them down too. Whenever they got too loved, he would start breaking them down. And so he was toying with that mechanism as well. Epstein was. And Ghislaine Maxwell, where they were loving them and breaking them down, loving them and breaking them down. And the thing about it is those abusers are like good at that. They're really good at that. But I believe though Epstein's was like much more evil and diabolical, because his was all bullshit. He didn't actually love them. My half brothers who abused me, like they really did love me. They really did. They did. They were just fucked up individuals, you know? And I think with the traffickers, it's different. It's like those people are more diabolical and they're like feigning that stuff. They're trying to manipulate that shit. Yeah. I mean, that's why the family member abuse is so toxic, guys. It is so utterly toxic because of that love element. And that was the hardest thing to unravel. And no, your thing is showing up. I'm not on top chat, right? I'm on live chat, boss, right? You can see it right there. It is on live chat, right? I see you in chat right here. It must be on top chat. My shit ain't showing up. I don't know why your shit ain't showing up. YouTube may be fucking, like YouTube may be silencing you, boss. But it was really several years of EMDR that let me unravel that. You know what I'm saying? It was several years that helped me. Several years of EMDR. It's hard to unravel, guys. That's the hardest part. But it was also part of my healing, though, because there's an empowerment to be had when you realize that, like, oh man, those people didn't really control me. Those people didn't really like they didn't own me. They were just damaged people who loved me and were trying the best they could to love me, but they didn't know how to love me in the right way because of their own trauma. And so I was just caught in like a trauma crossfire. You know, I wasn't the victim of some like plot. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't the victim of some diabolical person trying to sabotage my whole life. I just, you know, walked out of the rain into the crossfire of somebody else's trauma. And that doesn't need to define me. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, no, if you have links, Groove Dragon, you gotta put them in Discord, okay? Because links are blocked. That's what it is. Yeah, the links are blocked, right? Yeah, you could just put them in Discord, though. Discord is down in the description. But so this is part of the fucking, you know, overcoming the shit. Ella, let's go. All right, guys, we have 12 minutes. We need 17 and 12, boss, if we're getting a dance party. We gotta focus up. Let's fucking get this going. Oh shit. Get our dance party secured, and then we're gonna fucking tear into the rest of this shit. Dude, and I want to talk a little bit more about Bill Clinton. I want to talk about Trump and the auto worker, and then we're going to go look at Sascha Riley. Discord the link is down in the description. Okay? But yeah. But dude, I do. Stop stupidity. Let's go. I am invested in wanting to, you know, take a strong, hard look at the Sascha Riley story. Obviously, like, you know, being a young man who was SA'd, I totally understand, you know, like what the guy is going through. I myself, though, when I heard it included like really outrageous details, that made me like, I don't know, it gave me a visceral reaction in my body that it made me really, I don't know, it disappointed me a little bit because I know that like the crazier, outrageous the details, the harder it is to prove, you know, unless you can get some sort of corroboration, you know what I mean? And you know what I mean? It's like, so, but we're going to look at it. We're going to see. You know what I'm saying? we're going to dig deep and we're going to look into this shit. It's going to take, I'm sure, several episodes. Okay. You know, I think, guys, I think a healthy skepticism is important. And again, you know, if I didn't believe the victims, I wouldn't even like look at their stories or make any videos about it. But I do believe that we have to have a healthy dose of conspiracy theory skepticism. Okay? You know what I'm saying? It is like we need to remain focused because it's like, you know, it is a conspiracy theories never allow you to like get out of the muck. You know what I'm saying? Like even in my own personal story, you know, what got me out of the muck of my own personal abuse story was the you know, the focus on like the reality of who the people were involved. And you know what I'm saying? It's like I don't know, man. It's like trying to stay tethered in reality is really important. Like, remember the limo driver? Okay, remember the limo driver? The guy who was posting videos, oh, Donald Trump, I picked you up in the limo when you had your golden gun. I should have ended you right there in Dallas, but I didn't. Right? Remember the limo guy? You notice how, like, none of his shit really got corroborated, right? You know? And you know, then the more videos we watched, the more his stories started like overlapping with one another, and he just was not very believable. Dude, you're welcome, Magnolia Girl. You know what I mean? I mean, like, I'm not going all in on something just because it verifies what I want to be true. It's like you do need to have some, like, the people themselves need to have some sort of credibility. All right. Although, guys, what are we saying here in fucking, let's see here. I want to see what we're saying. All right. Glory to Ukraine. Okay. No, it's all right. Hey, man, as long as I know what it says, dude, you're good, dude. I like that. Glory to Ukraine. You're fine. Dude, no, I know. I just wanted to make sure. You're good. Dude, go amongst yourselves. Nah, dude, do your thing. Talk it up, all right? Talk it up. You know, I just wanted to make sure you guys were fucking talking about legitimate shit. Now you can go off. Go off and Cyrillic it up. Dude, do it. Do it. I don't care. Dude, it is a beautiful looking language. You know that Jenny actually speaks some Russian, dude, because she lived in Poland when she was younger. Okay, she lived in Poland when she was in, like, I don't know, 6th, 7th grade, something like that. She lived in Poland and she studied in Russia. She studied theater in Russia after college. So Jenny, like, speaks a little bit of Russian and can read some of it. It's quite amazing. 7 minutes, guys. All right, we need 15 and 7. Carnival barker time. Let's go. If we want this dance party, we're probably going to need it after the Sascha stuff. Let's hit it. 15 in 7. Here we go. Dude, welcome to the people who are here from the live chat. I'm sorry you only see a chip of my fucking shoulder. Unfortunately, YouTube has not provided a way for us to crop the screen yet. So hopefully that will be coming at some point. We're working on it. We're working on it. We're working on it. Dude, let's go. All right, dude, blunt front. Let's go, baby. Dude, stop stupidity coming in hot. Let's go. All right, 7, 13 in 6. Dude, we can do this. YouTube sucks. I mean, I like it, dude. Let's go. Let's go. Thank you, Ella. 12 and 6. We got this, dude. Social Butterfly will need this dance. Dude, we're going to need this dance. We're going to need to dance like nobody's watching. All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. YouTube pays the most. So I don't know that YouTube, I don't know about paying the most. YouTube, you know what YouTube does, guys? Okay. 11 left. Let's go, baby. Get in there. What YouTube does is YouTube has the most transparent and monitorable interface. So you have access to all your data, and the data makes it very clear how you're making your money, where that money is coming from, and you're able to sort of like track it and parse that data in order to like grow and generate more funds. Whereas like with Twitter, Elon, like every 2 weeks, I get like a $300 deposit from Twitter in my bank, but it doesn't tell me like why it's $300. And then some weeks it may be $50, but you don't know why it was $50 for this 2 weeks and $300 for that 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? There's no nothing. There's a stats board, but you don't know why you're earning any money. It's just a random payment that gets given to you. Right? So with, you can't do anything on Twitter to control your income. Whereas on YouTube, you can look at the data and you can figure out how to control your income or how to like keep it consistent. And Twitter, you can't, or other platforms. Same with TikTok. Stop stupidity. Let's go. Halfway there. Let's go, Ella. Dude, 𝗙𝗪𝗙 𝗪𝗧𝗏. Let's go. Stop stupidity coming in hot again. Let's go, baby. All right, 344. Here we got Social Butterfly, Bread and Roses, Solidarity. Yes. Solidarity is good. We need more of that. Dude, all right, so now where are we at, dude? We need 6 more in 3 minutes. We got this. Dude, let's go. We got this. Oh, shit. Dude. But so that is one of the things about YouTube is even compared to Twitch, YouTube is way more transparent. Like Twitch is sort of in between. Sorry, don't be sorry, dude. We got 3 minutes, 6 more. We got this. All right, 5 more, dude. Jenny Faye, let's go. We do like to take it down to the wire, like every single time, right? 5 more. We got this. Easy peasy. Oh, shit. At the Taj when they were protesting? Yeah, dude, that pedo thing got to Trump, boss. Trump is cracking. The suspense, 222, 5 and 2, 4 and 2. Uncle F, let's go, baby. Coming through, coming in hot. We are coming in hot, baby. 4 more. Oh, we got this. 2 minutes, 4 remain. Dun, 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 dun. Dude, Tiana, let's go. Oh, let's go, dude. Blunt front. Let's go. Dude, Tiana, I love it, dude. Is that that is amazing. Is that a switch? It looks like a switch. Dude, let's go. All right, guys. 3 more. Trace Moss. Dude, let's go blunt front. Dude, we're going to throw a Trumpy in there. Fuck you, Trumpy. Oh, Trumpy. Injured controller. Dude, I love it. 3 more. 1 minute. Nope, it's 3. Because the stickers, it only counts the super chats. So we need 3 in 1. Right? 3 in 1. Oh, shit. 1 minute. Oh, no, 2. Okay, there we go. Magnolia Girl 2. Let's go. Dude, I love the injured controller. There we go. FDJT. Thank you, Jenny Faye. 1 more. We got this. Easy peasy. Dun, 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 dun. There it is. Kimberly Evans. Let's go. Oh. Let's fucking go, baby. Let's fucking go. Dude, dance party LFG. Let's go, Ella. Oh, yeah, dude. Uncle F coming in. Oh. All right. Someone got mad gaming and threw their controller. Dude, it's perfect. So yeah, so the 𝗙𝗪𝗙 pausing in your housework. Let's go, little brown bird. Appreciate you, boss. Dude, so this, guys, this fucking, whoops. There we go. This Bill Clinton shit, that is, hold on, I gotta put that with that. So this Bill Clinton shit, dude, pausing in your housework ×2. Let's go. Oh, dude, Tiana's going crazy. Let's go, Tiana. Dude, thank you, boss. You are the best. Let's go. Big dubs. Dude, so this Bill Clinton shit, okay, is bullshit. Okay? And guys, we're going to look at Bill Clinton's response. This is why we need to take back the House, guys. Again, I know it sounds crazy. I know everybody just wants like to flip a switch and have Trump go down, whatever, yada, yada, yada. But guys, it is important to take back the House because this shit is happening. This obfuscation, this squirrel, and go running over to look at Bill Clinton and then going on Hannity and going on Fox every night to talk about Bill Clinton and make it seem like Bill Clinton is more of the bullshit distraction. Okay? They're just going to chew it up with senseless trying to get people to testify, and when they won't participate, they're going to blame it all on them. Okay? You know what I'm saying? They're going to blame it all on them. And right? And that is part of the House. Now, if we control the House, every day they're going to be calling in Pam Bondi. They're going to be calling in Kash Patel. They're going to be investigating and demanding the release of the files. They are going to be looking at wanting Donald Trump to talk. And they're going to be asking people questions about Donald Trump. And this whole thing is going to be focused on his, disobeyal and operating outside the law. And the entire investigation will be about releasing those files and forcing them to comply with the law. Because basically what they did is Trump signed a law and now every day they're breaking it. And right now the Democrats are trying to figure out, well, how can we hold them accountable? Because here's the little problem, guys, is the branch of government that punishes people when they break the law is the executive branch. So when the executive branch is breaking the law, they're not going to punish themselves, right? And therein lies the problem. Now, I want to answer a question here because somebody way back at the very beginning of the stream, somebody said, has a president ever acted as unlawfully as Donald Trump? And the answer to that question is yes. Okay, there have been presidents that have expanded the power, Abe Lincoln is one. Okay, he expanded federal power and did shit that literally had the fucking country freaking out. Andrew Jackson, FDR, Richard Nixon. I mean, there are guys, I think with people like Abe Lincoln was even crazier than this. He basically, Abe Lincoln was sort of reinterpreted the Constitution and shit and made decisions that affected, the entire future of the Union. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Trump is actually, some of the things he's doing with the it's complicated. Okay, because for example, JFK, okay, you ready? JFK sent the National Guard in to force white supremacists in the South to behave in a certain way. Okay, right? You know what I'm saying? And that for the people in the North were JFK's doing what's right. But for everybody in the South, JFK was violating their fucking civil rights and was executing tyranny, right? And so, we're now dealing with the people in power think racially profiling and ethnic cleansing is doing the Constitution. And we're all oh my God, the tyranny. If you look at America, we have often been on one side or other of this feelings of tyranny, depending on who's in power and who's executing the shit, right? When white people were trying to prevent black students from going to school, the president sent in the National Guard to force them And those white people felt the same way that we feel now looking at what's happening with ICE in Minneapolis. Now, I think obviously we're right and they're wrong, but the point is right or wrong doesn't matter. What matters is the people's perception of what's going on and how they react inside the political system. Because those people that, like, segregation, guys, was not agreed upon. Okay? Desegregation. I mean, look at our world. Like, why is Trump even powerful? Why did he come up after Obama? Because desegregation was never agreed upon, guys. It was forced with the National Guard. It was forced by the U.S. government. It was forced by the Department of Education. Okay? So all this shit that they're doing, like getting rid of DEI and gutting the Department of Education, is because desegregation was forced. And the people who want white power, white Christian power in America, they never got over that. Nobody ever agreed to let go of the racism in Jim Crow. They were forced to do it with the tyranny of the U.S. government. And now they're trying to use the tyranny of the U.S. government to force us back to white Christian power. That's all that's going on, guys. It is not like Donald Trump is literally just trying to reverse Uno 1964, okay? We are on the flip side of us forcing desegregation, and the white Christian power have acquired enough money and power to try and force us back. I mean, it's literally not this crazy, outrageous shit. They're getting payback for 60 years. You know what I'm saying? Of being, I mean, it's literally 2024 was the 60-year anniversary, guys. They are just getting payback for 60 years of being forced to desegregate and to allow black people to have power. And now they want to fucking burn all that shit down. That is all we're fucking doing, guys. That is it. That is all this is. It is not some crazy, like, outrageous, like, never seen before revolution. It is literally the same goddamn fucking battle we've been fighting. They're just trying to reverse Uno our 60 years of progress. That's it. And they've been building toward this since the 80s. Finding trigger issues, the abortion, right? Finding, right, stacking local governments, state houses and state senates, right? So they're gerrymandering the shit and having like overriding veto power over the Democratic governors in states, right? Like making states, red states, you know, subjugating the voters, voter suppression. So they have all the power. So a state like Mississippi is 40% black, but black people have no power in that state. They've been actively working at this behind the scenes. Okay? You know what I mean? Yeah, I have not seen Nazi Town, USA. I've not seen that. But this is where we're at, guys. It's not like rocket science that, you know, this isn't some brand new revolution. That is the entire motivation behind closing the Department of Education. Absolutely. Has nothing to do with education. It had everything to do with, right, with the Department of Education being the thing that prevents states from discriminating and segregating and you know, injecting white Christian supremacy into schools. So they just neutered it because Jimmy Carter established that motherfucker because he knew if they didn't use the federal government, they were going to go right back to segregation, right? This is all about segregation, guys, which is why if you see black people that are like fucking frustrated with white liberal voters or white voters in general, this is why. You know what I mean? It's like, this is fucking why, because the whole battle has been about them the whole goddamn time, bro. Right? You know what I mean? Dude. It's like, this is the most predictable shit ever. But now we got to ride it out, bro. Right? We have a fight. But guys, I think this is good though. I think this is good, man. This is good to talk about, guys, because this is, you know, realizing that the civil rights battle really just begun is like, now we can get to work, right? And Michael, the thing about this, man, is the Trail of Tears is literally, it's like a drop, but like, dude, all of America, like America was founded on ethnic cleansing of the native peoples, right? Let's be very clear about that all of our entire nation is founded on the genociding of native peoples, taking their fucking land and then enslaving people to work the land. They would have enslaved the natives if they didn't die of European diseases. Okay, they enslaved the black people because they didn't die of the diseases. And then they didn't have enough people to work the land, so they enslaved people to work the land. Our whole country is a shithole, bro. It is. It is genocide and enslavement. Our whole country is like a karmic disaster. Okay? You know what I mean? It is, dude. Our country is like the karma. I mean, many more people may die. Okay? I know we get upset watching Renee Good get murdered, and it sucks. And it sucks seeing people's heads get cracked open by ice. But guys, I feel like a lot of us in America are going to suffer before we override this karma. Like, we're not going to get out of this karma without everybody in America suffering a great deal of fucking pain. Okay, let me just tell you, as somebody who racked up some karma, like, we're not getting out of this unscathed. So we're gonna have to put on our big boy pants and get ready to suffer, especially white Americans. The suffering, I think, is coming, dude. You know, I just don't see how we avoid it, boss. You know what I'm saying? There's so much karma in America. Like, at some point, you just gotta go, yeah, this one's gonna fucking hurt. It's gonna leave a mark, boss. It is. Hopefully it's not the mark of the beast, but it is gonna leave a mark. And we are soft and entitled and fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like, America, we are like the ultimate Karens, I think. Dude. We are the ultimate Karens, guys. The American Karens. The American Karening. But yeah, I mean, that's just how I see it, guys. That we are, you know what Walter Sobchak in The Big Lebowski said. He said, you're in for a world of hurt. And I think it might be time for America to experience a world of hurt, guys. And you know, but I think it can be good too. I think it can be good. Like, sometimes, you know, I mean, we talked about this briefly the other day about how white people seeing a white person executed by a law enforcement person was very hard for white people to process. But like, man, black people have been processing that shit for 140 years, dude. And like, nobody ever said, wow, right? You know what I mean? So it's like, it's coming around. It is coming around. And you know, we're going to have to go through some psychic and karmic fucking pain, guys. You know, I mean, I'm ready though. I'm ready. Dude, let's read Clinton's response here, because Clinton wrote a personal letter. All right, you ready? So here's Clinton's letter to Comer. Okay, we got two things to cover, guys. We gotta do this fast. All right, I'm going fast. Here we go. And yes, Kristi Noem's thing, one of ours, all of yours. It is Nazi ideology. Her podium. It is. It's like, if you hurt one of us, we're going to kill all of yours. Okay, that is genocidal maniac Nazi talk. Okay, so Bill and Hillary Clinton wrote a letter to James Comer, and here's what it says. This was dated today. It said, Chairman Comer, we want to take a moment giving everything to address you directly. Okay, this past year has seen our government engage in unprecedented acts, including against our own citizens. People have been seized by mass federal agents from their homes, their workplaces, and the streets of their communities. Students and scientists with visas permitting them to study and work here have been deported without due process. The people who laid siege to the U.S. Capitol have been pardoned and called heroes, And in fact, they're now like out there smashing windows in the streets. Agencies vital to the country's national security have been dismantled. Universities, media companies, and law firms have been subjected to threats to their funding, access, and licensing unless they made concessions and surrendered their right to constitutionally protected free speech. American troops have been deployed on the streets of our towns and cities. The Justice Department has been used as a weapon at the direction of the president to pursue political opponents. And most recently and searingly, an ICE agent killed an unarmed mother only days ago. Every person has to decide when they have seen or had enough and are ready to fight for this country, its principles, and its people, no matter the consequences. For us, now is that time. We are lucky by virtue of the positions we held and the protections afforded by them. But we are not blind. Every day we see the country we have dedicated our lives to improving take step after step after step backwards. As chairman of this powerful congressional committee, you have immense power to target anyone and subject them to closed-door interrogation and more. The decisions you have made and the priorities you have set as chairman regarding the Epstein investigation have prevented progress in discovering the facts about the government's role. The facts speak for themselves. You subpoenaed 8 people in addition to us. You dismissed 7 of those 8 without any of them saying a single word to you. You made no attempt to force them to appear. In fact, since you started your investigation last year, you have interviewed a total of 2 people. 2. Oh my God, dude. Dude, I don't really like Bill Clinton, right? But this letter, he is fucking Comer up, bro. Dude, he is just savaging Comer. I mean, dude, we know Comer. Hold on. I got my favorite Comer picture that I'm going to bring up real quick. All right. There it is, guys. There is the photo I think of every time I think of James Comer, dude. I think of that photograph. Dude. Oh, dude, right there, dude. Comer. What a fucking putz. Okay, a legal analysis prepared by 2 law firms and provided to you yesterday makes clear your subpoenas are legally invalid. You claim your subpoenas are inviolate when they are used against us, yet were silent when the sitting president took the same position as a former president barely more than 3 years ago. We call on you to release that analysis to the public to allow them to see how this is yet another example of the casual disregard of the law of the land. So there you go. Right? Trump avoided speaking about J6, okay? And he was a former president, but now they expect former President Clinton to bow down before them. All the while, you have done nothing with your oversight capacity to force the Department of Justice to follow the law and release all of the Epstein files, including any material regarding us as we have publicly called for. Over the last year in the House, extending health care for Americans in any state succeeded only because enough Republicans joined with Democrats. The fact that the public and we are seeing any of the DOJ's Epstein files is only because 4 Republicans out of 220 joined every Democrat to reach the minimum number of members to force a vote. You were not one of those 4. Even now, despite the DOJ's failure to follow the law the Congress passed, you have chosen not to consider subpoenaing the sitting attorney general to follow the law. Again, guys. Again. Right? Comer, what's up, buddy? Like, you have a lawless DOJ. Why are you not calling the head of the DOJ and the head of the FBI to talk about where the other 99% of these Epstein files are? Okay? Despite everything that needs to be done to help our country, you are on the cusp of bringing Congress to a halt to pursue a rarely used process literally designed to result in our imprisonment. This is not the way out of America's ills, and we will forcefully defend ourselves. Indeed, bringing the Republicans' cruel agenda to a standstill while you work harder to pass a contempt charge against us than you have done on your investigation this past year would be our contribution to fighting the madness. We have tried to give you the little information we have. We've done so because Mr. Epstein's crimes were horrific. If the government didn't do all it could to investigate and prosecute these crimes for whatever reason, that should be the focus of your work, to learn why and to prevent that from happening ever again. There's no evidence that you are doing so. Instead, You have forced the victims to relive their painful experiences while doing little to give them and everybody else what's deserved, truth and justice. There is no plausible explanation for what you are doing other than partisan politics. You accepted the least from those who know the most, but demand the most from those who know the least. To say you can't complete your work without speaking to us is simply bizarre. You have asked what we know. To answer your inquiry, we are providing you with the same or more than 7 of the other 8 individuals you subpoenaed regarding the handling of the Epstein investigations and prosecutions, which may be why you have not publicly released their written statements. Yeah, dude, this letter is powerful. We expect you will say it is not enough. We expect you'll reject it. You may even set out an empty chair or stand in front of the cameras and outright dismiss what we have provided. We expect you will direct your committee to seek to hold us in contempt. You may even release irrelevant, decades-old photos that you hope will embarrass us. You will say your caucus and the speaker and the president are behind you 100%. We hope, perhaps in vain, that they will not allow you to single-handedly hijack the Congress by unilaterally making this decision for your colleagues, your party, and our country. You will say it is not our decision to make, but we have made it. Now you have to make yours. We are prepared to make our case to your 45 committee members, and if need be, more. Importantly, we will also defend ourselves in the public arena and ensure this country knows exactly what you are doing and why you are doing so, instead of helping the American people who need this Congress's work and protection. For most people, maybe even the bulk of the Congress, today will be the first they learn of this dispute. We are confident that any reasonable person in or out of Congress will see, based on everything we release, that what you're doing is trying to punish those who you see as your enemies and to protect those you think are your friends. Continue to mislead Americans about what is truly at stake, and you will learn that Americans are better at finding the truth than you are at burying it. Continue to pursue auto pens instead of penning laws Americans need, and you will learn that you are signing away any remaining chance of being on the right side of history. Continue to abet the dismantling of America, and you will learn that it takes more than a wrecking ball to demolish what Americans have built over 250 years. Sincerely, Bill Clinton, Hillary Rodham Clinton. Wow, dude, that is crazy, bro. There are, I mean, obviously, guys, there are, dude, there are some significant, important points there. Okay, there are. Like, number one is the fact that they subpoenaed 8 witnesses and have let 7 of them go, right? Without even talking to them. So obviously this is a like case of one, right? That, and we know it was coordinated. Their release was only those Bill Clinton photos. They redacted people like Sarah Kellen and Epstein's lieutenants to like imply guilt. I mean, this is like really a well-crafted letter that calls out Comer's entire game. You know, Comer's entire game is called out right there. That they let Trump out of subpoenas. Jim Jordan ignored a subpoena. I mean, about J6, all of these guys ignored subpoenas about J6. Now that Trump's in power, now they want a former president to all of a sudden bend over. They didn't demand that of Trump. They released all the other witnesses. They're doing shit in closed-door meetings instead of out in the public, right? Even with Jack Smith, they had him in a closed-door meeting. All of this shit is partisan drubbery where they are just trying to manufacture some way to offload this. I mean, guys, we are witnessing this on a grand scale now. It's not even just Comer and the Epstein shit. They're doing it with fraud. I mean, just today, Donald Trump is running around now saying, if we get rid of the fraud, we won't have any national debt. Okay, so now Trump has manufactured this idea that Democrats have committed so much fraud that that's why we have a national debt, even though he's exploding the national debt with ICE and military operations in Venezuela and all their shitty spending. And Elon went in and doged the whole fucking government, and they didn't find any fucking fraud, right? They didn't look in the Pentagon, but they found no fucking fraud. But now they're just, you know, they're saying, oh, Nick Shirley found fraud. Now that means there's fraud everywhere, right? It is just a constant jerk off with no evidence where these guys are presenting some fairy tale with a few little inconsequential pieces of shit that they release in a Facebook post. And then they expect us to believe some cockamamie fucking story, boss. Okay? And it is bullshit. Okay? It is bullshit. And this is just the beginning. This is going to be a long, protracted fight. But again, we win the House, and this is over with. Okay? We win the House, and all of this bullshit goes away, guys. Okay? We need to remain focused. We need to vote like our motherfucking lives depend on it. Okay? And we win the House, and this is over. Now, dude, we do have to go look at this. Okay? This is Donald Trump giving the finger to an auto worker, of all things. Dude, Trump was out. Let's find this. All right, let's go look at the Trump auto worker. Dude, this is a crazy story that, of course, all the right-wingers are like celebrating Trump. Oh, he flipped a guy off. We love him so much. But, dude, this is outrageous. So 𝗙𝗎𝗋𝗋 was the auto worker who called Trump a pedophile protector, okay? And, right? And he has been suspended. And TJ said, I don't feel as though fate looks upon you often. And when it does, you better be ready to seize the opportunity. Now, you know what I said, guys? What I said was this. My reaction to 𝗙𝗎𝗋𝗋 was real simple. Okay? Real fucking simple, guys. And I stand behind my statement here. Are you ready? It's right here. Where is it? Let me find it. Right here. The fired worker should run for office. Dude, tell me the guy who called Trump a pedophile protector. That motherfucker needs to run for office, dude, in Michigan. Like the campaign ad will write itself. He, like front and center. Like we deserve a president that actually obeys the law. We deserve elected officials who obey the law and release the files, not somebody who flips me off for demanding accountability. Like, you know what I mean? He literally is the fucking campaign ad, right? Let's see him, dude. Where is he? Is this him? Is that him? Is this the guy? Dude, is that him? Dude. There's no way, bro. Dude. He changed his Facebook page to Trump. Dude, he doesn't look like I thought he was going to look, bro. Dude, the Peace Prize. I did read the text, right? A father of 2 young children, proud UAW worker, local 600, right? 13,000 raised. All right. Dude, yeah, let's go. We're going to fucking support that guy. But let's watch. Let's see if we can watch the video. Here's the video. Okay, here's the video. So Trump is fucking visiting auto workers. Okay, Trump is visiting auto workers. He is out there fucking, you know, whatever. There's people gathered. The auto workers are gathered. This guy called Trump a pedo protector. Trump is like, fuck you. And then he flips him off. Okay, is there another one that's got 125K? Let's go. Dude, I love it. I love the dropkick Murphys. Yeah, no, we're going to look at this, guys. Let's check this out. And here's Trumpy. Here he is. Dude, there's 2 fuck yous, and there's the finger. Oh, there it is. Dude, look at him. He points at him. Fuck you, and gives him the finger. Now, guys, I think this is pretty relevant because why aren't they releasing the files, guys? Trump signed the law. The files were due on the 19th. Why aren't they releasing them? You know what I'm saying? Fuck you, Trumpy. You know what I mean? I mean, come on, dude. This is some horse shit. He is triggered, right? Like, you know, like fucking he's snapping, guys. He's flailing. Because think about this, guys. Just think about this. Think about Trump's position. He knows he has 10 months, okay? 10 months until the election, and he's going to lose the House. He knows he's losing the House. I mean, think about what they just did in Minnesota, guys. They like had Minnesota, okay? Nick Shirley came up, the fraud, everyone was anti-Tim Walz. Tim Walz says, I'm not running again. They literally had Minnesota. Then Trump sends in thousands of ICE, and like 2 days later, they murder somebody. And now the Republicans will never win in Minnesota again. Like Minnesota is done for them, right? Because they just overplayed their fucking hand, bro. They're like, they are like accelerationists to their own demise right now. They are, dude. They literally, I mean, they had an opportunity to do real fucking damage and maybe get Republican wins in Minnesota until they murdered that woman. And now they're like, it's like, what are you guys doing? They can't even not screw up their own fucking victories. Like, yeah, Minnesota is now so blue, it looks like almost black, dude. It's like, dude, what are they doing, bro? They're so dumb. And his approval rating is going down the tubes, and nobody's going to forget the murdering of like a white woman in Minnesota. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's going to forget that. And there was a black man who got murdered, right? Wasn't there on New Year's Eve by an off-duty agent? And there's no footage of him, right? But it was a black guy, wasn't it? The guy who died on New Year's Eve with the off-duty ICE agent, that Keith Porter, right? So now you have the black community that's being affected by this too. The countless number of times they've been through this. And it's like, man, we all know now that these guys are fascist Gestapo motherfuckers, okay? We know it. There's no doubt in anybody's mind that we either take this shit back or they're gonna fucking kill us all, okay? Dude, let's watch this video again. Fuck you. Fuck you. Dude, wow. Isn't that crazy? He is flipping off the fucking auto worker. There it is with his tiny little hand. You're donating right now? Good. Good. Where's the other campaign, the actual campaign for this guy? Right? This shit is insane. Now, what's wild about this though, guys, is how these right-wing medias, the right-wing medias, hold on, I want to see something. All right, Portland got their ass kicked. The right-wing media people are fucking going crazy, like defending Trump. Look at this shit, okay? Look at these guys. Look at what they posted with Trump, right? They were all like celebrating this shit. Hold on, let me find it. Dude, this is my congresswoman right here. Hold on, I want to see what Maxine Dexter says.
Congresswoman Bill Melugin with Fox News. Quick question. Why didn't you wait for any facts to come out on the Portland Border Patrol shooting before you put your statement out?
I did not make a statement about the...
You did. It's on Twitter.
No, I made a statement. I did not say anything about whether or not those folks were rightfully having...
You said ICE is terrorizing the community. It wasn't ICE, it was Border Patrol, and you said you wanted...
My question for you is, did they follow due process? And the answer is no. Those folks were shot before they had...
Those folks were two Venezuelan gang members who both local police
Allegedly.
And local police in Portland say they were.
I met with the police chief, and it is not that clear. So alleged is not due process.
So do you consider those alleged Tren de Aragua gang members to be your neighbors? You said We got to show up for our neighbors.
We have to show up for our community, and our community is feeling terrorized right now. They are outraged that people are being shot without having any detainment or due process in the court of law.
Did you see the photos DOJ put out of the Ram Border Patrol vehicle, almost totaled?
I have seen photos, sir, and I have nothing to say about these two people and whether or not they have criminal history or other things to be detained. That is not the issue. The issue is that we are not following due process. Our law enforcement should be accountable to the law.
Last question, we'll let you go. You called for an end to all immigration operations in Portland, all ICE operations. Do you still stand by that, given the fact that these do appear to be criminal, illegal alien gang members?
Again, sir, alleged is not being prosecuted in the court of law and having a jury find that that's true. If they have immigration violations, that will be dealt with by an immigration judge.
See, here, I would love to talk to this guy, dude. You know why? I mean, dude, I love Maxine, but she is a newbie. She just got elected, so she is new on being in front of the camera. She's in a trial by fire, guys, right? Because now you have to be like a social media star in order to deal with these people. But here's the problem. Okay, here's the problem we have, guys. The problem we have and why I would like to talk to this fucking goon right here. Okay, thank you. There's the other GoFundMe, guys. Is because he's trying to conflate two separate things. Because number one, are we okay with ICE and CBP arresting gang members or people who have been convicted of crimes? Absolutely. We are fine with that. Okay, if you have some gang members, you get a warrant for them, you go to their house, fine, arrest them, get your warrant, go get them. They're in court for a crime, fine. If they're being convicted of a crime, you go to court, you get them, put them through the due process in both cases, and then deport them. We don't care about that. What we care about is ICE fucking shooting our citizens, commanding them to get out of cars, smashing windows at the gas station, tackling 17-year-olds at Target, beating them up and dropping them off at a Walmart around the corner, okay? We care about ICE agents roaming down the street looking for any brown person to fucking harass, standing in the parking lot of a Home Depot, and I could go on and on and on, okay? And it's like you're not going and serving warrants at gang members' houses. You're not going to court to grab convicted felons and then putting them in front of immigration judges. You are smashing windows, pulling guns, and fucking setting up all these lies about people assaulting you to then just like throw people into prisons in Florida and Louisiana or fucking El Salvador, and nobody's going before a goddamn judge. So fuck you. Who is this guy? Fucking Bill Mulligan? Fuck you, you fucking like puffy-haired fucking weirdo. You fucking pompadour wearing fucking pompous piece of shit. And your bullshit like conflating of nonsensical questions. And I'm sorry that my rep Maxine Dexter ain't good enough in the front of the camera yet to fucking shit all over you, but I will, right? You want to come talk to somebody, come talk to me, homie. All right, you little prick. Hold on. I'm going to post my video under this, okay? I will. Hold on. Let me save that because I'm going to save that guy's video and I'm going to fucking take that clip and I'm going to post it under there. If he wants to talk to somebody, we'll fucking talk. Hold on. There we go. Where's that clip? Now I got to find the clip, dude. All right, there it is. All right, we're going to save that. Let's go. Breathe. I'll breathe when I'm dead. All right. So that's the problem that we're having. Okay. Is these guys are trying to fucking conflate. They're trying to conflate things that aren't the same. Okay. They are. And I mean, dude, they have this shit down to a science, right? Like, for example, if we protest the lack of due process, they say you're supporting the Mexican cartel members. And it's like, no, we're not. Okay? Due process is the issue, not defending criminals. You know what I'm saying? right? And yeah, she did stop to field the question. Dude, I might reach out to her, okay, and see if she needs a spokesperson on the street. Because she, like, I get emails from her all the time, dude. And she's actually really good. She's just not, she was a physician. She's not a reality TV person. But this is hard, guys, is like, we need people, okay, that are like reality TV people a little bit. You know, she literally just got elected, though. I'm telling you, she's going to be good, boss. She is. I believe in Maxine Dexter. I like her. All right. But we're gonna fucking give that guy some shit. All right. So there we go. I think we have some coverage. Obviously, like the Trump and the fucking the TJ situation. This is pretty outrageous. Oh yeah, no, I remember what I wanted here. What I wanted was to look at this. See, look at this. It says LMAO, someone heckled President Trump at the Ford plant today. So he mouthed, "Fuck you," and flipped them the bird. That's the President Trump I know and love. But you notice, guys, right? You notice what he did here is he didn't say what the heckling was, okay? He didn't talk about the heckling being somebody calling him out for disobeying the law with Epstein. But see, here's the thing, guys. Is with Trump doing this, these are the same guys who expect like Bill and Hillary Clinton to jump through hoops for them, right? You know what I mean? I mean, it's like he's illegal. He's blocking the Epstein files, which he promised to release. He's lying about it. They're breaking federal law every day. And if somebody challenges him on it, he's like, fuck you, haha, right? And everyone's like, oh, look at Trump. He's like, fuck you. But like when we say fuck you, they're like, oh, you're being bad, right? You're being bad. How dare you not comply? It's like, well, wait a second. Are we supposed to comply or are we supposed to say fuck you? Because we say fuck you and you want to shoot us in the face and you say we need to comply. But you don't need to comply, huh? Well, that's interesting. You know what I'm saying? Right? Fuck you and you're fired. I don't know if he said you're fired. Let me see. Fuck you. All right. No, that could be it. You're fired? I think it is fuck you, you're fired, actually. Fuck you. You're fired. All right. No, that could be it. Fuck you, you're fired. It does look like you're fired. All right. Fuck you, you're fired. No, you're fired, Trumpy. Oh, fuck you, Trumpy. You're fired. Ah. All right, guys. The time has come. Okay? Here we go. The time has come, guys, where we are going to spend 30 minutes. We're going to go look at Sascha Riley now. Now, guys, I'm telling you right now, let's look at the GoFundMe. I'm going to put it up here. We're going to go look at his GoFundMe. We're not going to get too deep into Sascha Riley today, okay? We're going to scratch the surface, and we're going to have an ongoing relationship with Sascha Riley, okay? We are. It's going to be an ongoing thing that we're going to look at. We're not going to, there are several hours. There's like 2 hours of recordings. We're going to read the information. We're just going to scratch the surface of it today, and we are going to investigate. Thank you, Lori. We are going to look at the whole thing, all right? I'm going to look at the whole thing, and we may go back and re-look at Katie Johnson again, too. While we're waiting on these files, we can go look back at some of this stuff and explore it and you know, vibe with it and keep, you know, like teasing it at the door that maybe some of these people will come forward again, or maybe there will be some leeway. I hope some reporters are trying to confirm that like confirming that detail about the airlifting is really something to like look at. And hopefully there are people looking into that. I'm not sure where we would start with that, but we're going to, you know, we're going to take it slow and we're going to look at all this shit. However, guys, I am always going to err on the side of not being too conspiratorial. Okay? That is always going to be what I'm doing. The airlift dirtwag it's one of the details in the Sascha Riley case. That one of the details in the Sascha Riley case is that this kid was being abused and he grabbed something and stabbed Trump like right up the ass with it. And then Trump was airlifted to get like surgery or something. And I don't know the exact detail, but I just sort of glossed over something. And so supposedly this would have happened in the 80s. And that is something that should be verifiable. But you know, for me, it was hard because when I first saw this story, I'm like, dude, I want to get into this. And then I start hearing these really crazy details. And those crazy details always make me nervous because it makes it seem like it's like too larger than life. Okay. But I think it's important to look into all things, guys. Okay. It's into all things. It could vary because here's the deal. Okay, you ready? The deal is this, is they are going to put red herrings out there in order to impeach our credibility. They want people to follow fake stories and to believe them and put all your chips in. So then when they expose that it's not real, they make you look bad. And then when you do expose real shit, you have no credibility left. So it's important to look into this, but it's important to look into it as a fucking skeptic. Okay? So where you look at it, but you don't look at it in a way that impeaches your own credibility by just assuming, yeah, oh my God, we've got a fucking military CSAM ring with fucking demons. You know what I mean? We're going to be very skeptical about this. All right? But now we're going to dance. All right. Let's go. Because guys, can I just tell you, right? I had an experience before I do this dance. I had an experience, guys, where there is another woman who is out there. I don't recall her name, but she sent me some messages on Twitter. But she is a woman who is, you know, she claims to be an Epstein victim. And she tells a story about being an Epstein victim. And there are some people on the internet that have mentioned her. A lot of people have not mentioned her. She's not with any of the mainstream lawyers. But she said something about like she saw Jeffrey Epstein become a shapeshifter. And like, that's when I was like, I'm not really gonna fucking talk with this woman, because when she said that she witnessed Jeffrey Epstein turn into a shapeshifter, I was like, now we're in the X-Files. You know what I mean? Like, now she has taken it from a believable instance to like some weird sort of tabloid demonic possession thing that, like, at that point, I'm not sitting down and having a serious discussion with somebody who's saying they witnessed a shapeshifter. Like, that is a little bit like far out for me. You know what I mean? Like, and she like led with that, and it was like, bro, right? I mean, dude, the lead singer, yeah, but Billy Corgan though is fucking mental. Okay, the singer of the Smashing Pumpkins, he is mental, Billy Corgan. Dude, that guy is a crazy conspiracy theorist, mental. If you talk about everyone who's in a band with him, he was like such a control freak, obsessive, like weirdo, like so hard to get along with, isolated, bizarro human being, okay? Who wrote amazing music, but like the guy was fucked up, you know? And like, you know what I'm saying? Right? I don't know. We have to retain healthy skepticism. Okay, we're going to do that. All right. I loved his music, but he is not a guy I would go to for reliable information. Okay, he is. He's very talented. His music was great, but if you listen to his music, you know he's very fucking damaged. Okay, you know he was very, very damaged. And damaged people that don't get therapy usually end up like with some thought debilitations, okay? Right? You know, like I'm telling you, people who've experienced trauma like are very vulnerable to conspiracies and very outlandish shit. Like guys, when we experience trauma, our body like forgets it. We create entire origin stories that are as though we were never traumatized. Like we literally live in fantasy worlds of our own creation. So if you have been traumatized and you have not done the appropriate therapy, you're real susceptible to living in a constant state of conspiratorial like fantasy. I mean, it's real prevalent. Okay, that's how dissociation functions and shit like that, guys. You will have people who are horrifically abused and they've convinced themselves they came from a loving family that was perfect. And they have all the evidence to back it up. It's like, you know, conspiracy theories are reactions to trauma in a lot of ways, you know? I mean, that's why they're so prevalent after the pandemic. We've experienced like a collective trauma during the pandemic. So we have this election conspiracy and all this deep state shit, but it is like a group trauma and dissociation that we're experiencing, guys. So we gotta maintain some level of, you know, like objectivity while we try to sort that out, you know? All right, you ready? Let's fucking dance though, baby. Let's get it. Let's get it. All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
They have a lot to say, but I've known. Been here before.
All right, guys. Dude, get the breath kicked up. I'm gonna go make some videos. I'm gonna try to make sense of this. We do not need the Epstein ballroom to dance, guys. Not at all. I love you guys. I'll fucking see you tomorrow. Take care of your head, guys. We gotta keep it together. Good night. It's all about freedom.
Freedom. Obsessions always jumping through. I'm so tangled, I'm so worthy. I'm just lost in my reflection. Pay attention.